So the last time we started to see the consumption function. If you remember, we were looking for all the parameters that can influence consumption. Some of them were measurable, some of them were not measurable. Do some of you remember it? Yes, very good. Okay, particularly there was two measurable parameters, that was income and little c, that is propension to consume. Income is very clear. Propension to consume, we repeat, is the percentage of income that consumers use to consume, that people use to consume. So part of the income is consumed, part of the income is saved. If you remember last time we said that we also have little s, that is a propension to save, and what we said is that propension to consume plus propension to save is always equal to 100%, because part of the income is consumed and the other part is saved. To make things clear, to understand what is propension to consume, we made the example of single person, and of course the propension to consume of each of us is different. But here in macroeconomics, we are talking about general propension to consume, nationwide, which is the propension to consume in Italy or in France or in Europe or in United States, right? Because it's macroeconomic. Of course, this is a sort of an average, but as you probably have heard, for instance, it's always said that Italian people is more keen on saving. We are a more saving people. We think about saving money for the future, for buying houses, etc. While, for instance, in the United States, they are less keen on saving. They are more keen on consuming. So, probably propension to consume in Italy will be lower than the one in the United States, even if there will be plenty of Americans who save more than Italians, but averagely speaking, in a country, they consume more than in here. Is it very clear? Yes. Okay. So, if we want to try and draw a consumption function, for the moment we know that consumption will be a percentage of income, correct? So will be little c multiplied by income. If my income is 1,000 and my propension to consume is 80%, I will consume 800. Clear for everybody? We need to say another thing. When we think about income, we are talking about gross income. But what we have available to spend, is it really our gross income, or before we need to pay something. Think about it. You have your gross income. You do understand what is gross income? Okay. You get your gross income. But what you need to pay? Huh? Taxes, correct? So, what you have available to consume is not your gross income, is your net income that we will call disposable income. So, disposable income is income minus taxes. Correct? So we have another step. The amount of consumption depends from the disposable income, which is income minus taxes. So, if my income is 2,000, I pay 500 of taxes, my disposable income will be 1,500, okay? My propension to consume is 80%, so I will consume 1,200. Correct? As you see, there is a white space over here. Because we need to add another factor. Even people who doesn't have any income need to buy things to live. You agree with me? Yeah. You will probably borrow money, right? Or ask somebody for money. Anyway, you borrow something because you need to buy some food. You need to buy a pair of shoes, a jumper. So, there is some basic consumption, okay? Some items that, never mind how much is your income, everybody need to buy. Quite clear? Think about bread. Think about bread, think about milk, think about basic clothes, okay? Never mind if your income is very high, never mind if it is very low, never mind if you don't have it. But anyway, there is this part that is independent from income, okay? So, in our function, we need to add C0. Big C0 is independent consumption. Okay? Independent consumption is defined as those consumption that do not depend from income, basic consumption, the minimum level of consumption that everybody needs to have. We have completed the consumption function. Up to you. In here there are two incognitas. This is a function. So there is one independent variable and one dependent variable. Correct? First question, up to you. This function, what can it be? A straight line, a parabola, an hyperbola, whatever. Up to you. Huh? Huh? A straight line. Very good. So we know that this function is going to be a straight line, and that's the first step. Let's try and define the incognitas, because this function we will draw on a Cartesian plane, correct? First question, easy question. What will be the name of this axe? Up to you. Of these axes, so this is the y-axis. Consumption, okay? Because normally when you write in math a function, you write epsilon is a function of x, correct? So this is y, and this is consumption, and that was easy. So consumption is the dependent variable. Which of these, in your opinion, can be the independent variable that give us the idea how much the consumption variate from a variation of which of these? Very good. Income. So the consumption function tells us how the consumption varies depending on a variation of the income. Okay? We already know that if the income grows, consumption grows. Correct? Great. If this is the mathematical description of the straight line, Q, that is the intercept, is gonna be C0. Intercept. This is easy to understand because if the income is 0, never mind what is the propension to consume, will be multiplied by 0, that's 0, and C is equal to C0, basic consumption. We know that if the income grows, consumption grows, so we already know that the straight line will be growing. And what will be the slope of our straight line. When you get the mathematical expression of the straight line, which is the slope? Yeah, exactly. In English it's called the slope. Which letter is in math? M, okay? M is the slope. And in here my M is little c, so is propension to consume. Intercept. Is quite clear? Correct? So all the consumption functions are made like this and has this characteristic. Mathematically speaking, the intercept is always C0, which are the basic consumption, the independent consumption, which is the economical reason is by the definition of C0. C0 are independent consumption, are the consumption that does not depend from the income, are the minimum that people has to buy even if they do not have any income, even if they need to borrow money. The slope of this function is the propension to consume. And of course, in math, we know that the higher is the slope, more inclined is the function. Correct? You know it. Okay. Economically, we can explain this saying that the higher is the propension to consume, of course, the more I will consume my income. Correct? So my straight line will be more vertical. Okay, if we want to try and draw with numbers, we can see in a country having independent consumption 10,000, propension to consume 80%, taxes 6,000. Okay? So first thing we need to do is to write our function 1000 plus 0.8 y minus 6. Okay? Okay? No doubts up to here? Ask me the question, dear. Yes. 0.8 by 600, right? You need to solve the parenthesis, 0.8 by y, 0.8 y, 0.8 by minus 600 minus 480. Ask me your question. Is the definition 80%? Propension to consume 80%. The percentage is 80 divided 100. All the steps are clear up to here. First things we notice when we solve the function is that the intercept that in here is 5,200 is not really C0, but it is C0 minus CT. Okay, so mathematically the intercept is C0 minus CT. It's clear that in reality, if we think about somebody who has income 0, will have also 0 as a taxation. But when we draw the function, the intercept is always C0 minus CT. If you see here, we have C0, little cy minus CT. Correct? So we know that the function started here. When we draw a function, we always need 2 points, correct? Once we give 0 value to y, and we know as 5,200, once we give the 0 value to c. Attention, if I solve it, I have a negative value, of course. That we can calculate. I join the 2 points and I can draw my consumption function. Of course, I will not consider the negative part. Okay? This I only do in order to be able to draw the function. Of course, I can also give whatever value to y. I can say y is equal to 1000 and I make the calculation, or to 20,000 and I make the calculation. But if we get in the habit of always giving zero value to both variables, we have a sort of a standard way of drawing the function. Then when we draw it, we just need to take care of taking away the negative part, because of course consumption cannot be negative. Okay? So this is all we need to know about consumption function. What you need to remember are the factors from what consumption depends, measurable and non-measurable. Among the measurable, we have income and propension to consume. You need to know how we build this function. So we start saying that consumption is a percentage of income, but of the disposable income, which is income minus taxes. You remember that you need to have the independent consumption so you can draw your function. Your function will always have as an intercept C0 minus Ct. We will always have the propension to consume as a slope. The higher is the propension to consume, the more vertical is going to be your function. Okay? To draw it on a Cartesian plan, you need to solve the function, find the 2 points giving zero value to each variables, and remember to take away the negative part. So, today we had the first step of the aggregate demand, because we saw last time that aggregate demand was equal to consumption plus investment plus government expenditure. Today we know which is consumption, so we can say that aggregate demand is C0 plus little cy minus t plus I plus g.
Equal.
Equals.
Nice, you are so intelligent.
Okay, so next time we will see what is the investment function, and we will put another step on the aggregate demand.